Picking it off, you want to make sure that you have his hair completely combed out. I went ahead and used a dual roll comb. That way I can ensure that I don't really pull on his hair too much and hurt him. So now that I have everything combed out, I'm going to begin by using a number 1 on my clipper with the lever all the way open. Now the reason I'm able to jump right into my number 1 is because I've already cut his hair before, so I really understand his hair pattern. And you can see with the wall seniors that they don't even struggle going through the hair. The wall seniors have a magnetic motor that allows the clippers to really just eat through the hair without it even bogging down. The main thing to keep in mind whenever you're doing a haircut like this is that you really want to cut in the direction of the hair. Whenever you're doing waves, if you end up cutting against the hair, you're going to end up leaving them with the patch. So always make sure you read the hair and really understand what direction it's growing in before you begin to cut. And typically, I always start off right off the crown. You can begin to see what direction the hair is going to be going in. So as a base, I always go back to the crown and begin cutting down. I really want you to see how I'm positioning my blade. I'm laying it flat on the scalp, and instead of just using the flat side of the blade, I'm going to be tilting my clipper inwards a little bit on the little beveled edge that it offers. So laying it flat, dig in on the beveled edge, and that's going to really allow me to cut more hair. Okay, so now to begin the taper on the side, I'm going to begin with my clippers in this direction. I'm going to be doing more of a mid to high taper on him because I really want the taper to pop out. So I haven't really decided yet if I want to leave a little edge right here or not, but I don't think I am. So I'm just going to go ahead and bottom out completely. And whenever I use the shaver, since I created my line right here with the trimmer, I'm not going to be going all the way up to the line. I'm going to stay right below it to leave a little space right in between it to really be able to have some room to fade it out. And once again, jumping back into my number 1 with the lever all the way closed, I'm going to debulk a little bit more now, but going against the grain this time. As soon as I debulk it, I'm going to take the guard off, and I'm going to open my lever all the way, and I'm going to create my first section. So as soon as I created that first section, I went ahead and closed my lever all the way, and I'm going to begin by fading out the bottom line. And now whenever I'm doing this, I'm only going to be tilting my clipper outwards. I'm not going to have it flat, tilted outwards, and I'm going to begin point cutting into the line. Since I left off right here with the section with my blade all the way open, I'm not going to be going up that high anymore. I'm going to be staying below it, but every time that I do go up farther within that section, I'm going to open my lever a 1/4 inch at a time. As I open the lever, I'm going to continue going up higher within the fade, and by the time I have the lever all the way open again, I should be right at the starting point that I began by making this section. So since I left off with my number 1 guard with the lever all the way open right here, that's equivalent to 1.5. So now I'm going to be jumping into my 1.5 guard and closing the lever so it can be a true 1.5, and I'm going to continue fading up on his temple area. And really that just debulks some more of the hair for me. But now going back between the 0 and the number 1, I'm going with a 1/2 guard just to really erase that line and create gradiency. And once I get near the parietal ridge, like I said, I really don't want to cut into the waves in that area. So I'm just going to be using a 1 guard again with the lever all the way closed, and I'm just going to go with the grain. And like I said, we can still see so many little imperfections throughout the fade. I don't want to worry about that until the very end. That way we don't end up wasting too much time just in that one section. So whenever it comes to doing the edge up, I'm actually going to be tapering off the hair right at the front of his hairline. That way we don't have any hair overhanging the hairline once I edge it up. And once again, you really want to be careful with this because I'm just going right off the edge of the hairline. I'm not digging too far in this way. I'm just staying right at the edge. I'm going to begin right in the middle of his hairline. And I'm going to be working my way to one side of the corner first. So whenever I'm creating that edge up, the method that I'm using is going to be more of a tap and slide. So I'm tapping into the hairline, I'm sliding this way. Tap, slide. I'm not really just tapping in. I feel like if I tap in and slide, it allows me to keep more control of the direction that I want to go in. So now for the corner on the side, simply going to be tilting my clipper in the opposite direction. And I'm going to begin at the top corner and work my way down. You have to keep in mind that you can always readjust the edge up at the bottom, but you can't really adjust it at the top. So I'd rather start at the top and work my way down. That way if I have to go a little bit deeper, I can take the bottom deeper and not the precision area. All right, so now that we got that vertical bar set in, I can really decide if I want to do a C-cup or not. I think on him, I'm actually gonna be doing half a C cup. I don't really wanna go all the way down, but I'm gonna begin by placing my finger on his scalp, and that's gonna help me go in a direction that I wanna go in with the trimmer. So now we created a nice little soft C cup on the side. I think I'm gonna be keeping it. So now we can begin fading down into the beard. Actually, I lied. We're gonna begin by edging them up behind the ear. So I'm gonna be taking my pinky, pulling the ear down, and I'm gonna be creating my first guideline right behind the ear. The reason why I wanna begin behind the ear with the guideline is because now I know in what direction to go in this way, and I'm gonna have a guideline to go off of for the backside going down. Same thing with the corner edge up, I like to begin at the top and work my way down because I can always dig in a little bit farther in towards the bottom rather than at the top. But the beard is actually going to be a whole separate tutorial for a future video, so make sure you come back and tune in for that. So pretty much whenever I detail, I'm going to begin at the very bottom, work my way up. So pretty much I'm repeating the whole process all over again. But this time, instead of using that much of the blade like I was at the beginning to fade out each section, I'm really going to be tilting my clipper outwards that much more and point cutting into each individual hair. So now what I'm doing is creating gradiency within each section. And already we can begin to see how there's so much more separation in between each hair and more gradiency from one step into the next. Even with the hairline, I'm gonna go back and detail a little bit more. Sometimes whenever you're going with the razor, a lot of the hairs will be overhanging right after you use the blade. So just to make sure there's no hairs overhanging the hairline, I'm gonna go back in and just touch it up one more time. All right, there you have it. We did more of a mid taper on him. So one of the main things you gotta keep in mind is that you always wanna remember the proper steps and have a nice system down on how to fade. That way, whenever somebody comes in with that much hair again, you don't really panic and you know exactly where to begin and what to do. Be sure to let me know what you think about it. And if you haven't yet, make sure you subscribe. And if you haven't checked out my TikTok yet, make sure y'all go follow me on there as well. That's where I post most of my stuff, so make sure you go follow that.